Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got an update. The College Football Playoff Committee released their second variation of their 2025 rankings. We've got them here today. And so let's take a look at this. And then we are also going to take a look at some of the ESPN analytics, where they stand right now in terms of these teams making the playoff. The top five have not changed at all. Does not surprise me, considering all these teams won or were on byes. You could argue maybe A&M over Indiana, but we're doing this, and it's like the Heisman race almost. This is going to work itself out, ladies and gentlemen. It is. You're going to have Ohio State face Indiana. The loser's going to drop down. If A&M wins out, they're going to be ranked number 2. Listen, if Ohio State wins out, they're going to be ranked number 1. If Indiana wins out, they're going to be ranked number 1. If A&M wins out, they're probably going to be ranked number 2 unless something weird happens in the Big Ten. And if Alabama wins out, they're probably going to be ranked number 2. It's all going to work itself out. Indiana will drop below A&M if Indiana loses to Ohio State and A&M wins the SEC. But I mean, you're looking at these top 4 teams possibly being the 4 schools to get the byes. And the reason we say that in front of a team like Georgia is because it's looking like A&M and Alabama will finish undefeated in SEC play. Georgia, with the 1 loss in conference, they have no chance of making the SEC championship. Do you really punish Alabama, even if they lose in the SEC championship, with dropping them down because they'd have 2 losses, but one of them coming in the SEC championship? I don't know if you do that, but Alabama does have that really bad loss to FSU, which people kind of forget about. And I get it's week 1, and I don't put a ton of stock into week 1, but that is something that's like, okay, maybe we should look at this a little bit. I mean, it's a terrible loss, but these top 4 teams, they're probably all going to get byes unless they lose regular season games. Ohio State has the game at Michigan. They've got to win that game. That's like a must win this year for them. So we'll see. You've got Georgia at number 5. I think people are expecting Georgia to finish 11-1, and you're looking at Georgia being penciled into that number 5 seed, possibly facing, they're saying right now, South Florida in round 1. You've got Texas Tech at number 6. Texas Tech, the analytics, the defensive efficiency, this team screams best team in Big 12. People think they're going to go 12-1. They're going to win the Big 12. They're possibly looking at, I don't know if they can people might argue, well, maybe they should be the 4 seed if they go 12-1. I don't think it's going to happen. You could say, well, they're in front of Georgia. Maybe Georgia drops down. And by the way, that number 5 seed is very important. You really want to be the 5 seed instead of the 6, instead of the 6, because you're going to face a South Florida. You're going to face a Memphis. You're going to face a Tulane. Whoever is the group of 5 team. The group of 5 this year is very weak. A lot of SEC people are disgruntled. They want there to be no group of 5, auto bid. And honestly, I do understand both sides. It's like the March Madness aspect where you want to bring the mid-majors come in, the group of 5 comes in. It's the Cinderella upset. But this year, the group of 5 is not good. Last year, it kind of worked because Boise State had Ashton Genty. This year, they're going to be like 17-point underdogs. You look at the look-ahead line on Georgia versus South Florida. It's 17.5. People are going to be pissed off if that ends up being the game. Although, again, if Texas Tech finishes 12-1, you'd have to think Texas Tech might jump in front of Georgia. I mean, if Georgia's 11-1 and Tech is 12-1 they might still be behind them. I don't know. But Tech does have good analytical numbers, so we'll see. You've got Ole Miss at 9-1. People think they're going to go 11-1, but they have the head-to-head loss to Georgia, so they probably can't jump Georgia unless Georgia loses another game. So you're looking at Ole Miss kind of in the hybrid 6 or 7 spot. They're locking themselves in if they finish 11-1 to host the first round. Now, after that, we don't know exactly. It's going to have to work itself out. You've got Oregon up to number 8. They got the win on the road at Iowa. It's been kind of, they've had some unfortunate weather luck, Oregon has. Their last 2 games have been played in monsoons. So Oregon at 8-1, I mean, they still have some tough games left. They've got USC, they've got Washington on the road, but they finish 11-1. There's no way they're not going to host. Of course they're going to host at 11-1. Where will they be? Because the thing is they're going to need these teams in front of them probably to lose. Because right now, Oregon's resume, outside of the win against Iowa, although unfortunately for Oregon, now Iowa has to go to USC. Let's say Iowa loses to USC. Iowa's not going to be ranked. Well, honestly, I don't know, because Iowa, I don't even think dropped. Did Iowa even drop at all? I think that they stayed the same. So maybe Iowa, even if they lose to USC, they'll still be ranked with 4 losses. But Oregon's in a good spot. Even if they finish 10-2, they're going to be on the road in round one. I would be shocked if they'd have a home game, but they probably like the 10 seed if they finish 10-2. They would split against USC and Washington. Notre Dame at number 9. Notre Dame is trying to host in round one. Now, I'm sure Notre Dame fans, they're very happy. They've got Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is ranked. That could be a quality win for them. They need those. If you're Notre Dame, you're rooting for USC. You want USC to beat Iowa. That's your quality win at home. USC. If USC loses to Iowa, USC is unranked. Now, they need to beat Pittsburgh. Notre Dame does. If they lose, they're going to be out with 3 losses. They beat Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's probably going to be unranked. So what does that say for Notre Dame with this resume? Notre Dame, what they're going to be in if they finish 10-2. They're fighting for the first round home field. So they're fighting to be in the top 8 seed. Remember Ohio State? They lost to Michigan. They were on the tip. They got the 8 seed. Tennessee got the 9 seed. They got to host Tennessee. That home field advantage is very important. So if they can get up to that, you're rooting against Oregon. You're rooting against Ole Miss. These are teams that Oregon might lose. Ole Miss, because of their schedule, is probably not going to lose. The other problem for Notre Dame is there's teams beneath them that can win games that will help their resume better than Notre Dame. So will Notre Dame just stay at number 9? Maybe even drop down to number 10 if they win out, because the resume and because their last 2 games are against easy opponents. It's like Stanford and I don't know who the other game is against, but it's against an easy team. Who do they face? It's like a 3:30 game at home. I can visualize it. I don't remember who they face, but you've got Texas. So now Texas is at number 10. So does Texas make the playoff at 9-3? Probably they do. The issue is the ACC cannibalized itself. The Big 12, will they get 2 teams in? It's not looking particularly likely. And so that brings in Texas. Now, Texas is going to have to win one of these games. They're at Georgia. They're 6-point underdogs. Then they're home against A&M. And they've got an easier SEC game in the middle of that. So they finish 9-3. Are they going to be in the playoff? Probably. They probably make it at 9-3. Maybe like as the 11 seed. You've got Oklahoma sitting at 7-2. The argument for Oklahoma, well, what if they finish 9-3? They're going to be on the road at Bama. It's probably a loss, but it's a quality loss. The issue is they lost 23-6 to Texas. And I think the resume is probably aligned to where Texas is competitive in terms of their resume against Oklahoma. You could argue Texas, they have the really impressive, like you look at the non-conference. I mean, Oklahoma did win against Michigan, but they had a lot easier of a big non-conference game. Texas had to go on the road at the number 1 team in the country. So if Texas faces an easier team in week 1, maybe they're sitting at 8-1 and in a much better spot. So I think Texas, if there is a 3-loss team, people are saying it will be Texas out of the SEC. Oklahoma is kind of screwed unless they get this upset win at Bama. Because if they have 3 losses and Texas has... Now, Texas, maybe they get 4 losses. Maybe they lose because they're going to be underdogs, you would think. Although A&M, it's like... Because Texas analytics are really good, the FPI is really good. Maybe it'll be like a pick 'em, or maybe A&M will only be like 2 or 3 point favorites. But if Texas loses 2 times and Oklahoma loses once... I guess Oklahoma, even though they don't have the head-to-head, would be ahead of Texas at that point. They'd have the better record. You've got BYU at number 12. BYU, they may lose to TCU. I have them losing to TCU this week. They're 4.5-point favorites. Then they've got a road game at Cincy. They're going to lose one of these games. They're going to be done. Now, I don't know how it lines up exactly in the Big 12 in terms of can they still make the playoff with 2 conference losses? Probably not. And then if Texas Tech just wins the conference championship, where is the second team out of the Big 12? Now, the argument is, well, the Big 12 would want actually Texas Tech to lose the Big 12 championship, because then people would say, well, Texas Tech should still get an at-large. They shouldn't be punished for playing in the Big 12 championship. And then they have to put the Big 12 champion in, so then they'd get 2 teams in. You've got Utah at number 13. The problem for Utah is they've got the 2 conference losses. Right? They've got the amazing analytical numbers. They've got the margins, the efficiencies. They've got the terrible loss to Texas Tech. That's the problem. And then they've got 1 other conference loss. So how are they going to make it? It's a challenge for them. Vanderbilt at 8-2. Yeah, I think Vanderbilt's going to lose to Tennessee, honestly, in the last game, and they're not going to make it. And if they do make it, I think they're going to have a really tough time in the playoff. I really do. I do not think Vanderbilt is that great of a team. What would they be, the 10 seed maybe at 10-2? I mean, I guess maybe the 11 seed, but you've got Miami at 7-2. Miami is still trying. They've got the 2 conference losses, but the way the ACC is going, maybe they sneak their way in. Maybe if they finish 10-2, there's a chance, there's an argument. I mean, that's where we're arguing like a 10-2 Miami against this 9-3 Texas, right? Or like a 10-2 BYU or something like that against the 10-2 Miami against. I mean, this is the type of, you could even argue Utah over Miami if they both finish 10-2 and they don't make their conference championships. So, but Miami does have that win against South Florida. At least South Florida's ranked again. You've got Georgia Tech. They've got one loss. Yeah, they've got the Georgia game at the end of the season. It's going to be a challenge for them. It's going to be a challenge for them. So we'll see. I think they probably finish with 2 losses, and then maybe they make the ACC championship, but they probably lose that. Well, I don't know. Maybe they win that. I mean, there's going to be one ACC team that makes it. It's got to be somebody. So maybe it's Georgia Tech. You've got USC at number 17. Yeah, so they're respecting the head-to-head with USC and Michigan. You know, USC has some tough games. They've got Iowa. They've got Oregon. I think they're going to lose another game. Yes, if they finish 10-2, you got to put them in. Being part of the Power 2, the Big Ten, a team that finishes 10-2, I think they should make it. Michigan, if they finish 10-2, they're going to make it because they would have to beat Ohio State. Virginia sitting at 8-2. I just don't think, I think they're going to lose again, at least one more game. Louisville, I think, is going to lose again. They're at 7-2. You've got Iowa sitting at 6-3. They're already out of it, but that's big for Oregon that Iowa is still ranked. But now Iowa has to face USC. USC beats Iowa. Iowa has 4 losses. They're probably unranked. You've got Pittsburgh at number 22. They have to face Notre Dame. They lose to Notre Dame. They're probably going to be unranked. Tennessee, they face New Mexico State. That'll be an easy win for them. And then they have someone else. And then the last game of the season, they face Vanderbilt at home. South Florida, we'll see if South Florida is the team out of the group of 5. I mean, it's a different team every week when it comes to the group of 5. And then Cincinnati, technically, they're still alive at 7-2. And so we'll have to see what happens there. But that's just a look at that. And then you do have the overall FPI. You know, I've seen some analytical rankings that are a bit better than the FPI. The issue is, and this is just a general thing when it comes to these analytical ranks, they tend to overvalue efficiency against very bad teams like Oregon. You know, they'll annihilate a team like Rutgers and they'll average 13 yards per play. The analytics are just going to go through the roof in a game like that. That's why you see a team like Oregon at number 3 in the country. You know, it's very easy to run up crazy margins on really bad teams. You have to program a model to not overvalue that. And I don't think the FPI necessarily overvalues that in a crazy sense. But even this, I've seen models that have Ohio State 3 or 4 points better than Indiana, and this model has Ohio State 1 point better. I mean, these teams, I mean, when it comes to the playoff, it is very, I mean, these 5 teams are going to make it for sure. I would guess. The 2 Big Ten teams, the 3 SEC teams. And then you've got Texas Tech at 89%. You've got Oregon at around 88%. You've got Ole Miss at 80%. Then there's a major drop-off. But, I mean, Notre Dame is in a spot to where was that last game against Syracuse? Yeah. So they beat Pittsburgh. I think they're going to make it. The question is, do they get a bye in round 1, Notre Dame? Because what is Notre Dame? 5th overall in FPI. What is Notre Dame in game control? Notre Dame is 9 in game control. Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons Ohio State is number 1 right now, FPI, they're number 1. And then you look at game control, they're number 1. Average win, I think that's win percentage, they're number 1. A lot of the analytics, Ohio State is number 1. Efficiency analytics, Ohio State is number 1. Overall efficiency, Ohio State is number 1. Offensive rank, Ohio State is number 3. Defense, Ohio State is number 2. Indiana is also very good at number 5 and number 3. You can see Texas Tech has the 33rd best offense in terms of efficiency, the number 1 defense, even above Ohio State. Do I really buy that Indiana's the 3rd best defense in college football? Probably not. But, I mean, they've had a very good year. They're a well-coached team. Oregon, I think their defensive numbers are being pumped up a little bit because they played in bad weather. And then, like, A&M, to me, they're just not... The other thing with A&M is if you look at their schedule, and these are all SEC teams, so their strength of schedule is going to be good, A&M. But, like, the teams that they faced in SEC play have not been good. Auburn, Mississippi State, Florida, all home games. At Arkansas. At LSU, okay. You know, LSU, you can say that's a decent team. At Missouri with the 3rd-string quarterback who could barely throw. You know, you face Texas, but, I mean, to me, this is not a crazy schedule. You've got the win at Notre Dame, but it was aided by some mistakes by Notre Dame. So, I don't know. We'll have to see what ends up happening. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you like the video down below. Also, follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.